I am recording this for WatchPlayRead.
Okay.
So, just going to do a
Awesome.
quick introduction. Uh, so, I am talking to actress and musician Alicia Witt.
Hi.
So, how are you today?
I'm really well. I'm driving around Salt Lake City and um, I'm really excited about my show tomorrow
You,
night.
you do. You have a show coming up, and that's at Piper Down, right?
Yes.
So that's going to be fun. And you're also in town filming a movie, right?
Yeah, I'm filming a Christmas movie which is called The Truth About Christmas, and it's been a great time so far. I've been in town for about 3 weeks, and the premise of the film is basically that I'm an ad executive who has grown terribly comfortable with telling lies. And my little niece makes a wish with Santa that I won't be able to tell lies anymore, and then suddenly nothing but the truth comes out of me at all times. It's basically liar, liar, same premise, but with me instead of Jim Carrey.
At Christmas.
At Christmas, yes, that too.
That sounds great. So that's going to be a TV special, TV movie.
Yes,
Okay.
it'll be airing probably in November.
All right. Do we know what networks that's airing on?
I have a hunch which network, but I'm not allowed to say just
Ah,
yet. But if you look at the last few Christmas movies that I've done, you'll probably have an accurate guess.
that sounds like a good guess. Uh,
Yeah.
Now your album, which came out in May, right?
Well, you know what? It had a pre-release, so I can't. Honestly, I think it came out in June. But either way, it was sort of the single was out in May for sure, and yeah, it's called Revisionary History, and I'm really proud of it.
You should be. I've heard it. It's really good.
Oh, thank you.
But
Well, it's produced by the amazing Ben Folds.
I
So,
read that. What's the story there? How did you get hooked up with Ben Folds?
Nashville is an amazing city. It really is. I was in town releasing my last album, which was a live one called Live at Rockwood, and
Hmm.
that was in 2012. And I had booked myself a bunch of shows just to kick off the album release. And I was in Nashville about to play that night at the Bluebird, and I was sitting at this deli called Nashville with another writer who I was trying to write a song with, and Ben was sitting there at the next booth with his band. They were in the process of finishing up the Ben Folds 5 album that came out that same year. And I spotted him, and he knew the guy I was sitting with, and we have a lot of mutual friends, and we just started chatting, and we ended up writing a few songs together over email, and and then we wrote the end credits song for a movie that I was in called Cold Turkey, which at the time was called Pasadena, so we called the song Theme from Pasadena. And it's a duet that he produced and we wrote and sang together. And when we had that experience, Ben started talking about getting into the studio with me and recording an EP because he liked some of my songs, and we ended up going in and recording a few, and then a few months later we recorded a few more, and we ended up with a full-length album. So that's how the album came to be, really.
I love how things like that come together.
Hmm.
That's an amazing story. Uh,
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing. And there's one song in particular, which is called About Me, that
uh-huh.
it had actually occurred to me a few times long before I ever met Ben that he would be the ideal producer for it. Because I'd tried to record it with a few other producers, and there's a sort of celebratory, angry sound about it that
Mm-hmm.
I just had a feeling nobody was going to be able to capture except maybe him. And yeah, it just cut to a few years later. He's produced it, and it's on my album.
I don't know if that's just serendipitous, or did you?
I think it's pretty serendipitous. Yeah, I mean, it was one of the songs that I had written that he liked the most, and whenever I've recorded albums or songs with producers, I pretty much let them choose the ones that they're most drawn to,
mm-hmm.
because otherwise you're not doing yourself any favors. If you're working with an amazing producer, you want to give them the choice of your songs, and you wouldn't want somebody to produce a song that they don't feel drawn to.
Did he know that you had him in mind when you wrote that, when he first heard it?
Well, I didn't have him in mind when I wrote it, but as I was going through, I tried to record it because it was one of my favorites that I'd written, and
mm-hmm.
I had tried with at least 2 different producers, and one of them we actually ended up with a recording of it, and it just wasn't the song I'd written. It didn't have the right spirit about it. But yeah, I definitely had mentioned that I think I'd played him the recordings too, the old ones. He's playing all the instruments on the album for the most part, aside from the piano, of course. He's an amazing drummer and bass player too.
Mm-hmm. So I know you play the piano. Do you play anything else?
I don't. I hope to change that, but I'm always sort of threatening to learn guitar. I have several guitars and I've taken some lessons, but I never have stuck to it long enough to actually be able to say I can play the guitar.
Well, I imagine things are a little busy for you.
Yeah, they are. But a lot of the time that I spend on music is spent writing new songs.
That's good.
So it's just a matter of sitting down and focusing on guitar.
So when you started writing songs, what kind of musical influences have you found yourself drawing on?
Definitely Elton John, Billy Joel. Those are the obvious ones. Just love their songwriting and their lyrics and that sort of classic structure of their songs.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as a piano player. And then I'm drawn to anyone who tells profound stories within their songs. And people like Sean Colvin have huge influences on me, or Tom Waits, or actually older writers like the old Duke Ellington sort of songs. I don't know that there's a lot of influence that you could pull from listening to my music, but I actually grew up loving all the Nat King Cole and Ella Fitzgerald libraries and Frank Sinatra. So I do think there's a sort of very classic structure to a lot of the songs.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that there's a real trend towards that in pop music right now, where a lot of the artists who are most popular have a much more profound lyrical style than they did 10 years ago or 15 years ago, certainly.
That definitely is a trend, and yeah, when I listened to your album, I definitely heard a lot of very classic notes in there.
Oh, cool! Thank you.
You're welcome. And I
hear that though in like Ed Sheeran's music and
yeah.
Well. I love that. Even Pink, I've always thought she has a lot of classical or classic influence in her
mm-hmm.
music.
She definitely
if you
does.
took most of her songs and just stripped them down and played them on the piano and sang,
mm-hmm.
they would sound like they could be equally at home in an older genre or even in a Broadway musical.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Definitely.
which I love.
So what I've found, um, there are certain composers and songs and pieces that I find myself gravitating towards just over and over again. Like I find myself listening to Beethoven's Second Symphony at least once a month, and I have songs that I listen to over and over on in the car. Do you have anything? Do you have anything like that you just keep coming back to?
A piece that I love to play on the piano that I try to play at least once a month is Liebestrom. That just has a real significance for me. But then I have pop songs that I listen to over and over and over again. I'm a little bit obsessed with Walk the Moon, the band at the moment. I just think they're so good. And I really would like to write with Nicholas Petrica, who is the lead singer.
That would be that'd be a good mix.
I think so too, because they've just got this really hooky, catchy pop sound, but their songs are actually about something. There's a song on the new album that I don't know if it's going to be a radio single or not, but it's called Portugal, and I just love that song. Obviously, I love Shut Up and Dance, but yeah, that I don't know if he ever writes with anyone, but I'm very eager to hopefully do that at one point.
I hope that happens. That'd be fantastic.
Maybe I'll meet him at Nashville.
That would be a good idea. That seems to be the place to meet people, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, you never know.
All right, so I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. You want to talk about some film?
Sure.
All right. So you've been performing in film for a long time now. So you've gotten to know a lot of people in the industry. So when you're watching films, is it ever distracting? Does it ever pull you out to see people you know, to see friends of yours on screen?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, all the time. Yeah, it's difficult to fully sink into a film, but I guess that's a sign of some great work when I'm watching somebody that I actually know and I'm forgetting that it's them.
Mm-hmm. You forget all the little things you know about them.
What's that?
When you can watch them and forget all the little things that you know about that person. Do you ever?
Yeah, or just forget who it is. You completely buy them as that character.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even thinking about the person that they are. Someone else on screen. I know that's what I find is the best compliment when my friends tell me they saw me in something. They say they forgot it was me.
That is a huge compliment. That's what everybody's going for.
Yeah, definitely.
So do you have any favorite films that are not yours, films you weren't in?
Oh, yeah. Most of my favorite, I wouldn't, of my favorite films in life, I wouldn't name any of my own. That's just weird. I don't really like watching myself. But yeah, Dog Day Afternoon comes to mind as just one of my all-time favorites, and Blue Velvet, American Beauty. Yeah, there's so many. Punch Drunk Love is another one that I love.
And I have to apologize for that question. Asking somebody's favorite films is grossly unfair.
Oh no, there's just so many.
Well, there are.
But of the films that I've been in, probably my favorite might be Playing Mona Lisa, just because when I watch it, I think about what an incredible time I had making it. We filmed it in San Francisco, and I played a classical pianist in it, so it was very close to my own life. And it was just one of those shoots where everybody became good friends, and I love San Francisco. It's one of my very favorite cities.
And that
So,
was a great film. I loved that film.
you saw it? Oh,
I
that's
did.
so cool. Thank you.
I did. And,
Oh, I'm
and
so glad. Most people haven't seen it.
oh, it's yeah. I loved that one. It's I work
That's
as
amazing.
I work as a film critic for our site, so I get to see most everything.
Amazing.
It's a blessing and a curse sometimes. So
Yeah.
I think we've just about used up our time. I do have 2 questions that I got from my unhelpful staff.
Okay.
Anytime I do an interview, I always ask the guys I work with if they have any questions they want to throw in.
Okay.
They're terribly unhelpful. So one of them wanted me to ask if you got to keep your gom jabbar from Dune.
I did. I should say that my parents have it. Whether they know where it is a whole other question. But yes, it is in my family's possession, and that's a great question, actually. Last I remember, we also kept the mold of my hand that they made to fit the gom jabbar on my finger, and I think the gom jabbar is actually on the mold.
Oh, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, I just don't know where it is. If it were in my possession, I would know where it is, but my parents have it. I should ask them to bring it to me in LA next time they come visit. Thank you for reminding me. That's a great
no problem.
question.
Oh, no
I
problem.
would say that was extremely helpful.
And then they asked a very, very unfair question.
Okay.
But they still want me to ask. Billy Joel or Elton John? If you had to pick one.
That is a very, very difficult question.
I agree.
Wow. I don't think I can answer it.
Oh,
I really don't.
Oh, that's fine. I don't think there's a correct answer to that one. And then
I will say I've always found it odd that there's some people who almost love to hate on Billy Joel. Because I've had a few people come up to me and say, now don't be mad at me, but I have a comparison for you, and I apologize ahead of time, and then it'll be Billy Joel. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's the greatest compliment.
Yeah, why would you have to apologize for that?
No, in fact, I think if I had to pick one artist to say this is who I'm like, it would probably be Billy Joel, because there's a sort of real simplicity, but the chords are sort of different about his music.
Mm-hmm.
And a style of piano playing. He's also a former classical pianist, or he still plays classical, but there's something I think very similar about what he does to the style of what I do. But then again, Elton has written some of the all-time greatest songs ever. Like, I guess that's why they call it the blues.
Yeah.
Or Someone Saved My Life Tonight. I just don't think I could choose between the two.
Fortunately, no one's ever going to make you.
No. That's an unhelpful one. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine.
But the gom jabbar makes up for it.
It does. All right, and we're out of time.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I've loved chatting with you.
And you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. And I'm really looking forward to the show on Friday. That's tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to the show tomorrow night.
That's right.
Yeah. Hopefully I get to come by and say hi after the show.
Fantastic. I hope so.
All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. And
okay.
good luck with the film and with your show.
Thank you.
All set?
Here we go.
All right, let's go for it.
All right. This is your second show in Salt Lake.
Yes.
How'd it go?
This was great. To be perfectly honest, I enjoyed this the first one because the first one I was really nervous because I was opening for Ben Folds, and I knew that most of the audience, I mean like 99.9% of the audience was there to see Ben Folds. I think a few people came out to see me. Negligible. So I was sort of like, it was a lot of pressure. There were a lot of people there, much bigger audience than what I normally pay for. Tonight, I felt like people were either not expecting music and were pleasantly surprised, or there were people here especially to see me and they knew the songs. And it was a very warm, friendly audience. I had an absolute blast. I wasn't nervous at all.
Good.
And this is delicious, by the way.
I do have to say, that was probably the best cover of Call Me Al I've ever heard.
Thank you.
That was amazing. I love that. Is that how long have you been playing that one?
That was released in 2009. That's on my debut EP, my self-titled EP that came out in 2009. First thing I ever released.
Oh, nice. I haven't heard that one yet.
Oh, cool.
I need to go find that one apparently.
Yeah, it's out on iTunes and all that. I wasn't planning on playing a show when I first packed everything to come out here for the month to do the movie. So I didn't have anything with me, and I had a friend go to my house and sort of rummage through my stuff, and the EP didn't make it into the box that arrived today, so I don't have it with me, but it's out there in the world.
Nice. I'll have to go find it.
Cool.
That's not the live one, is it?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's on, the EP, and then the live one has some of the other songs that I played tonight.
So this is your first full-length album. And, okay.
The one that just came out, though, in June is my first full-length studio album. So Live at Rockwood is a full-length live album. And then the one that Ben Folds produced is called Revisionary History, and that's the one that just came out. And a lot of the songs I played tonight are on that.
Yeah, that's the one I've listened to. And that's really, I think I told you on the phone, it's a great album. I love that.
Thank you.
Oh, it's fantastic. When you play shows, do you normally just play with a full band, or is it just you?
It's probably about half and half. It all comes down to money. If I'm playing a festival and there's a budget, then I can bring my band out, and if there's not, I usually can't afford to do that. So I love playing with my band, but I'm also very comfortable just playing by myself, and of course when I'm playing by myself I can play whatever I want. So if I'm feeling comfortable like I was tonight, I can throw in a few songs I wasn't planning on playing, and there's no set list to really worry about, although I did have a set list. But yeah, I enjoy both.
You played a few songs that haven't been recorded yet.
Yeah.
Was that, you didn't plan on playing those, or just throw them in?
I did plan on playing them. I've played them a few times before. I did a Nashville show a few months ago, and I played some of them then, because I'd just written them. They were fresh off the press. And I played them in London. Well, no, that's not true. I didn't play them in London. I played them a couple of times. But yeah, I'm getting more into the writing with the idea that other artists could cover them. But obviously when you do that, you end up with songs that you love yourself.
Are you still working on them, or are they finished at this point?
I think the songs I played tonight are finished, but who knows? If I end up putting them on my new album, then I think whoever produces them, I guess they might change at that point, but to me right now they're finished. And if I'm lucky enough to have other artists cover them, of course they'll make it their own too.
So, how much longer do you have in town? You're still
About
filming?
another week or so. Yeah. It's actually our day off. Thursday and Friday is our weekend, so I'm playing hooky a little bit right now. I'm meant to go to bed early because I have to be on set at 7 a.m.
On a Saturday, that's not fun.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
because we do wrap, and so instead of having us stay extra, they just had the pre-wrap last night. But of course, I couldn't stay out too late because of the show tonight. I didn't want to burn out my voice or drink too much or anything. And I texted my co-star and I was like, why? Why did they do it? Why did they book a show? I could have just had a crazy weekend. But then he said, you're a performer. You're doing it because you love it. And I was like, oh, that's right. That's exactly why I'm doing it. And I did love it. I wouldn't have traded tonight for anything.
Well, it was a great night.
Thank you.
It was fantastic.
I had a great time.
It's good. So you're definitely planning on coming back?
Yes. Someday. Soon, I hope.
Well, I hope so. Are you going to try to stick to the smaller venues?
I have no idea. I don't have a booking agent, so it's all just see what happens.
Just pull into town, show up somewhere.
Yeah.